very warm welcome to everyone. This is Dr. Neha Verma and I am a faculty at Ajay Kumar Garg Institute of Management, Ghaziabad. Welcome you all to another video of Management Information Systems, and in this video we are going to discuss about unit number 2, which is regarding information management and decision making. So when we talk about information management and decision making, these all are interrelated concepts, and in this particular unit we will be discussing about all these three components in detail. Then we will be talking about various methods or models of decision making, and also some of the types of management support systems like DSS, EIS and GDSS. So let's just begin the discussion. First of all, if we talk about information management and decision making, management information systems are computer-based databases which comprises of information regarding company operations. Management and top executives can use MIS to track management performance as well as to run reports about things like productivity, efficiency, revenue, product performance, team sales and much more. Many MIS systems show certain performance contrasted with projected performance so that the managers can tell whether they are falling behind, meeting the goals or exceeding them. So therefore the importance of MIS is decision making. It lies in its ability to change the direction of the management teams and the entire organization. So on the basis of this discussion, there are various types of information systems, like number 1, decision support system. It is a type of system which is used by the management to make organizational decisions versus the management decisions for which MIS is used. Like for instance, by MIS could be used to make decisions about assisting a poorly performing employee. DSS could be used by the executives to create an overall shift in direction based on company and market trends. The next is knowledge worker systems. These are the systems which is used by the employees who rely on knowledge in order to perform their basic job tasks, like company engineers, finance experts, human resource personnel, etc. Next is office automation system. Now OAS, it helps basically the management, the organization, in facilitating the daily operations of an office setting and include things like voicemail system or word processing programs, email, etc. Executive support systems, which is ESS, is a system which merges MIS and DSS together to provide top executives with the data they need to make vital decisions about the direction of the company as well as the employee performance strategies. The last one is TPS. We had a discussion about TPS in the last video in unit number 1 as well. TPS is used by the companies to fulfill purchases, place orders or bill clients, track received orders and much more. So TPS, it works well and people use it to basically to provide accurate information on inventory, sales rate and the various operational decisions in the organization on day-to-day basis. MIS and decision making concepts. Now here when we talk about decision making concepts, there are two basic models which are available in MIS which talks about decision making in the organization. The first is rational model. Rational models are based on cognitive judgments and it helps in selecting the most logical and the sensible alternative. Like for example, such models include decision matrix or SWOT analysis, Pareto analysis, decision trees, etc. So rational decision making takes following steps like identification of problem, identifying the important criteria for the process and the result, considering all the possible solutions, calculating the consequences of all solutions and comparing the probability of satisfying the criteria, and the last one is selecting the best option out of the above. This is how rational model works. That is, it is based upon cognitive decision making and judgments. The other one is normative model. Normative model is a model of decision making which considers constraints that may arise in decision making, which is not a part of or which is not considered by the rational model. So the various constraints that this particular model basically takes into consideration are time, complexity, uncertainty and inadequacy of resources. So according to this model, decision making is characterized by limited information processing, judgmental heuristics and satisfying. Now next is the sources and the types of information. So whenever we talk about processing or storing information in the in any kind of information system, the information should have all these criteria, and they are basically collected on the basis of all these models. Like surveys, a questionnaire is prepared to collect the data from the field. Secondary data sources or archival data, it is a data which is collected through old records, magazines, company websites, etc. Objective measures or test, it is an experimental test which is conducted on the subject and the data is collected. Interviews, the data is collected by the system analyst by following a rigid procedure and collecting the answers to a set of preconceived questions through personal interviews. Now, classification of information on the basis of application. So these are basically the types of information on which it is classified on the basis of how it is used and applied in the organization. Like planning information, they are the information which is needed to establish standard norms and specifications in the organization. Like for example, time standards, design standards, etc. Next is control information. Control information is needed for establishing control over the business activities through feedback mechanisms. This information is used for controlling attainment, nature and utilization of important processes in the system. The next is knowledge information. It is an information about information. That is, knowledge information is acquired through experience and learning and collected from archival data and research studies. Then next is organizational information. It deals with organization's environment, culture in light of its objective. So basically this information is used by everybody in the organization, like the employees or the payroll information about the employees, etc. Functional operational information, it is a operation specific information. Like for example, daily schedules in the manufacturing plant, that refers to the assignment of jobs to the machines or the machines to the operators. Last one is database information. This constitutes large quantities of information that has multiple usage and application. Now such information is stored, retrieved and managed to create databases. Like for example, material specification or supplier information is stored for multiple users. So there are other dimensions as well on the basis of which we can actually denote, or we can make sure that information is a quality information which is when stored in the information system. So according to Wang and Strong, following are the dimensions of information quality. Intrinsic, it means the data should be accurate, objective, believable and reputation based. Contextual, it means relevancy, value added, timeliness, completeness of the information. Representational, it means interpretability, format, coherence and compatibility of the information. And accessibility, it means that the data should be easily accessible and access security should be there at any point of time whenever it is required or intended to be used in the organization. Now let's just talk about information needs for different levels of management. Now, even though the broad objectives of management as an entity may be same, like increasing shareholder value, it is by no means a monolithic entity. As has already been discussed in this chapter before, that there are different levels of management and each perform its specific purpose. The top level deals with strategy, the middle level with tactical issues and the bottom level with operational issues. The top level that deals with strategy will be taking strategic decisions. Likewise, middle level will be taking tactical decisions, and the entry level, the operational level, will be taking operational decisions. Now, in order to take such decisions, contextual information will be needed and it should be provided by the organization, by the information system. So, this particular table shows that how the different levels in the organization uses or it generates different kinds of information in the organization, in the management. The manager at the top level, who is deciding on the location of a new factory of the organization, has strategic consideration like the labor cost of the location, proximity of the location to the market, and long-term growth prospects in mind. Now, that manager will not be bothered about the shop floor level operational details like the reason for absence of a worker or the strategic view, and also the need of such information that helps him to take corrective decisions. Information is only a resource to him if it can help him to improve the quality of his strategic decision making. Similarly, for other tiers, information is only a resource if one can derive value from it. Now the next section we will be talking about the models of decision making. So basically, on and all, there are three models of decision making. The first model is classical, then we have administrative model, and then we have the Herbert-Simon model. The classical model is the model where the manager, with a certain decision making situation, the manager will collect all the critical information and the data that is required for performing a particular activity, and also take the decision that will certainly be for the betterment of the organization. Administrative model is same as a classical model, but here the manager has more concern for himself. So the manager, with the certain decision making situation, the manager would collect whatever information or data will be available, and then will take a decision which will not be in the best interest of the organization, but will certainly be good for fulfilling his personal interest. Now, Herbert-Simon model is much more elaborated model. The model is linked with decision making process. It explains the core of decision making and is used as a base of explaining the decision making process. So according to Herbert-Simon model, the process of decision making consists of following phases, like number 1, intelligence phase, number 2 is the design phase, and number 3 is the choice phase. So the intelligence phase is the phase where the various activities for finding out the problems related to the searching of operating environment are involved. So by this, the identification of various conditions can be done, which ultimately helps in taking the decisions at different levels in the organization. Extensive and comprehensive database is must for intelligence phase, making this phase very suitable for searching or scanning of the environment. The next phase in Herbert-Simon model is the design phase. So this phase basically leads to the invention and development and analyzing of various alternatives or the solutions of particular problem, which is a major part of this phase. The various steps that are to be followed in this phase can be summarized in the following steps, like number 1, support in getting the in-depth knowledge of the problem. The correct model of the situation can be made, and the assumptions of the model is then tested in the organization, that whether that phase is leading to correct information generation and usage in decision making in the organization or not. The choice phase is the basically the selection of the specific alternative or the course of the action from the ones which have been generated and considered during the design phase. It takes place during this phase. Now the choice procedure and the implementation of the chosen alternative form a very major part of the choice phase. So basically whatever alternative has been identified in the design phase is now being selected, and the best one is chosen in the organization in order to take decisions related to the organization. So the choice phase involves the selection of the best alternative, the best option of decision making in the organization. So these were the three main models, but there are other types of decision making models which are available in the organizations. Like number 1, rational decision making is the commonmost of the types of decision making that is taught and learned when people decide that they want to improve their decision making. So basically rational model is logical sequential model where the emphasis is on listing many options and then working out which is the best one. Now intuitive model is the second model, which model which basically the idea of this model is that there may be absolutely no reason or logic to the decision making process. That is basically you take decision or you select the best alternative on the basis of your own intuition, your inner knowing of some kind of sense that what is the right thing to do. So here in intuitive decision making there are probably as many intuitive types of decision making as there are people. So people can feel it in their heart that or in the gut or so on. So they will take that particular step or that particular alternative which they think is the best one and can be implemented in the organization on as per their own intuition. Combination. Many decisions are actually a result of combinations of rational and intuitive processes. So this can be deliberate, where a person combines aspects of both, or it can occur unwittingly. For example, a person has listed the pros and cons of the option, assigned numerical values, and added them all up. That is the rational part. But the end result is not really satisfactory. So they are, somehow they are uneasy, and they change the parameters and their numbers add up differently now. So the new result is more satisfactory, so they will go with that one. So this is the intuitive part of the decision making. So therefore, it involves the combination of rational decision making model and a intuitive model. Satisficing. So in satisficing decision making model, instead of evaluating all the possible options and choosing the best, satisficing is where we pick the first one that will give us the result. So we choose an option that is good enough, one that satisfies all the needs and sacrifices other potentially best options. Hence it is known as satisficing. So these were all the decision making models that we have discussed in this particular chapter, which is used in the organization in the process of decision making. Now the last part of this unit, we will be talking about management support system. So management support system, it focuses on managerial issues of information resources. These systems provide information to manage for planning and decision making. The information provided by these systems is based on both internal and external data, using various data analysis tools. They also offer a choice to the user to select out these tools for the purpose of data analysis. So these systems serve the information needs of managers at the middle and top levels in the managerial hierarchy. So there are basically three major types of management support systems: DSS, decision support system; EIS or ESS, executive information system; and expert systems. So DSS is basically designed to support the decision making process of managers to improve their effectiveness and thereby efficiency of the enterprise. They are based on the premise that managerial judgment cannot be replaced by any computer based solution. However, by offering the support of data and models, it is possible to improve the decision making process, even in the case of semi-structured and unstructured problem. So the basic purpose of DSS in short is to extend the capability of managers' decision making process by supporting tools and data which is made available to him under the direct control of the information system. The next one is basically here we will be discussing about the components of decision making system, decision support system. And there are basically, when we talk about DSS is a specialized MIS which is designed to support an executive's skills at all stages of decision making. That is problem identification, selecting relevant data, picking the approach to be used in decision making, and evaluating the alternative course of action. So decision support system consists of three main components, namely database software system, and user interface. So DSS database is it contains data from various sources, including internal data from the organization and the data which is generated by different applications. Also the external data which is mined from the internet. So decision support systems database can be a small database or a system or a huge data warehouse supporting information needs of an organization. To avoid the interference of decision support system with the working of operational systems, the DSS database usually contains a copy of production databases. Now next part is DSS software system. It consists of various mathematical and analytical models that are used to analyze the complex data, thereby providing the required information. So a model predicts the output in the basis of different inputs or different conditions, or finds out the combination of conditions and the input that is required to produce the desired output. So this software system in short basically consists of all the analytical models which the DSS uses in order to analyze the complex problem and give decisions or support decisions to the organization. So DSS user interface is it is a kind of interactive graphical interface which makes the interaction easier between the DSS and its user. So it displays the result, which is the output of the analysis, in various forms such as text, table, or charts or graphics, whichever is been conveniently can be used in the organization for decision making process. The user can select the appropriate option to view the output according to their own requirement. Now, thus, the level of managerial decision making must be supported by information technology in a successful organization, and there are three tiers in the organization where the DSS combines all the databases, all the information, and then support managerial decision making in the organization. So the three levels are operational, where the problem is structured. Then we have the middle level, tactical level, where the problem is semi-structured, and then we have strategic level, where the problem is unstructured. So this is how it is passed down from unstructured solution from the management top level to the lower level operational level, which is now the problem is in structured format. So this unstructured, the conversion of this unstructured problem into structured problem, it depends upon the DSS. It is looked after by the DSS. Now, activities and examples of major types of analytical modeling. So there are various types of analytical modeling which is available under DSS. Let's just discuss it one by one with the help of one example. So what if analysis is the first model. It basically leads to the observing that how changes to selected variables affect other variables. Like for example, if we cut advertisement by 10%, what would happen to sales? This is what is the question which is answered by what if analysis in DSS. Then sensitivity analysis, it refers to observing how repeated change to a single variable affect other variables. Like for example, let's cut advertisement by 100 rupees repeatedly, and then we can see its relationship to sales. Then we have goal seek analysis. It means basically test that making repeated changes to selected variables until a chosen variable reaches a target value. So let's just for example, let's just try to increase the advertisement until the sales reaches 1 million for example. And last one is optimization analysis. It is finding an optimum value for selected variables given certain constraints. Like for example, what's the best amount of advertisement to have given our budget and the choice of media. So this is how these analytical models, they work in the DSS, and the managers can use these models in order to take we can say optimal solutions to the problems in the organization. Next are the characteristics of DSS. So first one is ability to support the solution of complex problems. So DSS aids the solution of complex problems that cannot be solved by other computerized approaches or can be solved at a much slower pace. The second is fast response to unexpected situations that result in changed inputs. It enables a thorough qualitative analysis in a very short time. Even major changes in the scenario can be evaluated objectively in a timely manner. Third is designed to help support decisions that are formulated as semi-structured complex problems. So these problems which remain resistant to complete computerization can also be solved by the help of DSS. Then may be constructed to support one-time decision. Yes, DSS is helpful to those that are infrequent. However, the type of problem or opportunity best addressed through the use of DSS is one that requires human judgment. So DSS basically do not give you the ready-made solution to the problem, but DSS can facilitate and can give certain various very important and crucial inputs to the managers in order which can support decision making in the organization. The last one is DSS is typically designed for either a particular decision maker or a group of decision makers. So this allows a system designer to customize important system features to adapt to the types of representations. At which level the DSS is being used, accordingly it can be tailored as per the requirement of the organization. Then the classification of DSS. DSS is basically classified into 6 categories, which is the first one is text oriented. It contains textually represented information that could have a bearing on decision. So it allows documents to be electronically created, revised and viewed as needed. Then next is database oriented DSS. Database plays a major role here. It contains organized and highly structured data. Next is spreadsheet oriented DSS. It contains information in spreadsheets that allows to create, view, modify and also instruct the system to execute self-contained instructions. Like for example, most important and popular tools are Excel and Lotus 123. Then solver oriented. It is based on a solver, which is an algorithm or procedure written for the performing certain calculations and particular program type. Then we have rules based. It follows certain procedures adopted as rules. So procedures are adopted in rules oriented DSS, and it follows certain kind of fixed procedure in the organization. Expert system is one example of it. Compound DSS, the last one, it is built by using two or more or the 5 structures explained above. So when we combine either 2 or 3 or all the DSS into one DSS, it forms compound DSS. Now the next is types of DSS. Now status inquiry system, it helps in taking operational management level or middle level management decisions. For example, daily scheduling of jobs to machines or machines to operators. Then we have data analysis system. It needs comparative analysis and makes use of formula or an algorithm. For example, for cash flow analysis, inventory analysis, we can use data analysis system. Information analysis system, it is a type of system. In this type of system, the data is analyzed and the information report is generated. For example, sales analysis, market analysis, etc. Accounting system, it keeps track of accounting and finance related information, like for example final accounts, accounts receivable, accounts payables, etc., that keep track of major aspects of the business. And the last one is model based system. These are the system that uses simulation models or optimization models, which is used for decision making and are very much infrequent, and creates general guidelines for operations in management. The next is GDSS, the other type of MSS, which is very popular in the organizations, because globalization has not only expanded the product market, but it has also made the organizations geographically dispersed. So therefore the way the business is done and the decisions are made has also changed significantly due to this particular factor. So collaborative decision making has become more valuable than ever. So this is why there is an increased emphasis on developing and implementing communication driven group decision support systems. So decision making in the current business environment is collaborative process with participation from in-house and remotely located teams or temporary work teams or task forces. So in such a scenario, communication driven group DSS makes it easier for every participant to send and receive communication and interact with others in real time from their respective locations without meeting physically. So basically GDSS is a type of a communication driven group DSS which fosters collaboration between cross-functional business teams at the same time or different locations. It allows geographically separated decision makers connect face to face in real time, and also allows the data sharing with the rest of the team members, work groups or task force. So when you talk about GDSS, it also has these 4 type of advantages, like same time same place. The group decision support system, it can lead to efficient collaboration and team decision making in these situations, like same time same place, same time different place, different time same place, and different time different place. One popular example of GDSS is in virtual organizations, and there are various support tools which GDSS uses in order to take different decisions in the organization to support communication driven group decisions in the organization, like groupware, multimedia decision support, electronic meeting system, collaborating workroom systems, etc. The next and the last type of MSS, which is also the very important one, is executive information system. So when we talk about executive information system, EIS, or it is also known as ESS, it is a type of system which is an extension of MIS, which is a special kind of DSS, and provides critical information from various inter and intra sources in order to take decisions in the organization. So an ESS is specially tailored for the use of chief executive of an organization to support his decision making. So thus ESS is a comprehensive information system which includes various types of decision support systems, but it is more specific and person oriented. And ESS is designed to cater to the information needs of an chief executive, keeping in view not only his requirements but also taking into account his personality and style of functioning, etc. So ESS has made with these common elements which is used in the functioning and taking decisions in the organization, like hardware, for example input devices, storage devices, output devices, and CPU. Software, software like for example text handling software, then we have databases, graphic bases, model bases, etc. User interface, user interface is how the system and the user will interact with one another. So user interface provides that medium in order to interact with the system and to generate output. Telecommunication is basically the network by which the information can be shared amongst various groups, various people who are connected in the organization by the help of EIS. Characteristics of EIS. So EIS has these following characteristics: informational characteristics like for example flexibility and easy to use. It produces correct information, it produces relevant information, validated information, etc. Then user interface orientation characteristics like for example EIS consists of sophisticated self-help. It is a type of system which provides and can be accessed from many places. It provides reliable, confidential access along with access procedure to only the people who are authorized to use these systems. And it is very much customizable. It is customized as per the need of the top level management in the organization. Then managerial executive characteristics like for example EIS, it supports the vision, mission and strategy of the organization. It supports the strategic management in the organization. It is linked to the value added business processes and can is much result oriented in nature, and thus it is a kind of information system which is very crucial and very important and a very popular tools among the chief executive in the organization. And the last one is the difference between EIS and DSS. So this particular slide talks about that what is the crucial difference, what is the important difference between EIS and DSS. So DSS is for middle management, EIS is for top level management. DSS consumes operational data, EIS uses high level performance data. EIS is for long term decision making, DSS is for short term or middle term decision making, and EIS is more user friendly as compared to DSS. So these were all the points of the differentiation that we have already discussed in the video in this particular unit when we were discussing DSS and EIS. So with this we have come to an end with the discussion of unit number 2, where we talked about many categories, many aspects of information, how information is related to management and why information is crucial for management in decision making, how one can ensure the quality of information, and the last one we discussed about was the various types of management support systems like DSS, EIS and your expert systems. Thank you.